Some people are surprised by the closing costs or settlement fees because they don't know what they are. If you are someone in that category of not knowing, please stick around and listen to the following information. Hi, I'm Keri Beilman with Keller Williams Hometown Partner here in Wichita, Kansas. So what are closing costs? Well, closing costs for the buyer are the fees and expenses you must pay before becoming a legal owner of a house or a property that you are buying. And these closing costs may vary depending on the purchase price of the home and how that property is being financed. In other words, your closing costs are a collection of fees and payments that are involved with your transaction. And according to Freddie Mac, these fees can vary by location and the situation. So these buyer closing costs typically include lender charges. These could include buying down your interest rate points and taxes. You may see an appraisal charge listed if one is required. There may also be a charge for your credit report that was run for your loan. You may also see the title insurance policy fee. This title insurance policy protects you and your interest in the property. There may also be a charge for recording the deed. Also, the homeowner's insurance will need to be paid up front. So that may be included in those closing costs as well. There may be an escrow account fee, which is like a forced savings account for your taxes and insurance going forward. Possibly there's an HOA due that's required for the neighborhood. And there may be others, but talk with your lender and your realtor and they can get you an estimate of what those charges might look like. Now there are also seller's closing costs. The seller's closing costs will generally come out of the proceeds that the seller will receive for the sale of their home. So sellers, you don't generally need to bring a checkbook to pay for your closing costs. The seller's closing costs include commissions paid to both sides. So the buyer's broker and the seller's broker's commission are on the seller side. The seller's loan payoff will get paid from the proceeds as well. You as a seller may also pay your share of the prorated taxes if there are any. Transfer fees may possibly be a charge as well, and the title fees. But most often the seller's proceeds will pay all these things and then the seller will get the remaining balance. This list of closing costs and charges is not an all-inclusive list, of course. It's impossible to account for every single thing that might be a closing fee because every closing may be slightly different from one another. But it's a pretty close list to get you started and understanding what closing costs are. Now keep in mind, buyers, based on Freddie Mac's information, the estimated amount for closing costs are generally about 2 to 5% of the purchase price. So the closing costs are all the fees and charges in addition to your down payment. So adding the down payment plus the closing costs is generally the amount that you will need to bring to the table on closing day. If you work with a trusted real estate agent and a reputable lender, they should be able to provide you with a rough estimate of all the numbers before making an offer on a house or property that you love. And always make sure you get those estimates before placing an offer because you don't want to be stuck in a situation where those costs are higher than what you can afford. Again, your realtor and your lender should be able to help you with those numbers. I'm Keri Beilman with Keller Williams Hometown Partners here in Wichita, Kansas, and hit that subscribe button if you want to hear some more real estate information.